Is something that I used to call a disease. Okay, in fact, I've written many review articles on this, and it usually started with necrotizing enterocolitis as a disease. Well, I don't believe it's a disease anymore. I think we could call it a condition. It's a multifactorial condition and not a specific disease. And I'll talk a little bit more about this as we go through this. But in 2011, when Dr. Alan Walker and I wrote this review article in New England Journal of Medicine, we called this picture a representative of classic necrotizing enterocolitis. Baby had distended abdomen with some periumbilical erythema, so some air in the liver. We saw some pneumatosis intestinalis. The baby got worse, and the baby ended up going to surgery and having an actual necrotic bowel. Okay, and we called that classic necrotizing enterocolitis because in 2010, 2011, we were beginning to recognize that there were other intestinal entities that we were calling necrotizing enterocolitis. For example, spontaneous intestinal perforation. There still is no ICD-10 code or ICD-11 code for spontaneous intestinal perforation. So in our database, if a baby has a drain placed and does not have a laparotomy, what's the ICD-10 code for that baby? Necrotizing enterocolitis. So our databases are garbage, okay? But this is something that has now become a real conundrum because what we are calling necrotizing enterocolitis is not a specific disease, and I think we need to switch the entire paradigm. So these are just some of the things that we are calling necrotizing enterocolitis. I don't have the time to get into detail on all of these, but these are just some of the things we are calling necrotizing enterocolitis. Now, one of the things we need to do is to shift our paradigm, largely because we don't have a definition for necrotizing enterocolitis. This is a paper that was written in Pediatric Research in 2020, and in this paper by Ravi Patel, they talked about 8 different definitions of necrotizing enterocolitis. If you have 8 different definitions of necrotizing enterocolitis, do you really even have a definition? No, you can't, because this is a real conundrum. And if you don't have a definition, all of the studies that we talk about when it comes to necrotizing enterocolitis are largely faulty because you have to have a good definition of necrotizing enterocolitis, but we don't have one. So this is from a review article written by my friend Kenny Martin. Definitions of necrotizing enterocolitis. What are we defining as machine learning the answer? And so at the time this was written, we already had started in our own unit to start using some very rudimentary machine learning techniques to start trying to better look at this problem. One of the questions is, can we separate early on babies with spontaneous intestinal perforation from babies who actually have necrosis of the intestine by just looking at